A whole nother book. Anyway, welcome to another episode of Big Genius, and we're at a crazy party here at Time to Be Happy. Oh God, you don't know what time to be happy is? Wake the fuck up. I'm here with a couple of folks I just met. We're all really drunk. I'm going to have them tell you who they are, and then they're gonna compare war stories because they look like they've seen a thing or two. Sir.
Hi.
Do we speak in the camera or we speak to you?
It feels more natural to maybe speak to each other.
Yeah.
My name is Beau, and this is my dad. Sort of. Artistically.
Okay, good. That's good. Everybody needs an art dad because your parents will never understand you. Sorry, go ahead.
Hi. Hi, Ron.
Hi.
I'm Caratoes.
Are you?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm face and
Now
toes.
I'm nervous.
Really? Don't worry. It
Okay.
will be just fine.
All right. So these are two of the greatest artists I know, the greatest young artists, and the two that have roll the hardest. And I decided to put them on together because our friend Beau Stanton here actually did the street art thing, and he stayed on the road for 5 years because there's so many street art festivals, they will put you up and take care of you. And then you don't really necessarily have to have an apartment if you can line up enough. And so I just thought that must be some world record. And then I met this beautiful woman, and so she did 12 years on the road. She's finally landed in Brooklyn, and anyway, so tell us the craziest thing that ever happened to you. Oh, okay. Tell us this. I know you're on the road for a long time. What happened during COVID? Were you still on the road during COVID?
Well, I think like COVID was the one thing that I was like, oh my gosh, now I can't do this anymore. But then, so I got stuck in LA, but then my visa ran out, so I had to fly anyway. And then I tried to go to Hong Kong, but I wasn't in the airport, and they rejected me. They were like, you can't fly to Hong Kong. You don't have the right papers, even if I have Hong Kong citizenship. So I just like looked on Skyscanner and checked the cheapest flight to anywhere close, and it was Mexico. So I spent some time there. That was my retreat.
Did you go to LA at all? Or no?
No, I actually didn't. I couldn't come back to United States for 3 years. Yeah, that's why I'm so happy to be here now. Like, because I got,
You told me you lived on a sex farm in Los Angeles.
Gosh.
See, I guess we're cleaning it up for you guys. That's not true? No.
That's true. Sorted rents, hello. But it got burnt down, so I don't know.
Oh, it got burned down during the fires, yeah. So that's not a story anymore. Yeah, when I first met you, actually painted a city block by yourself. It was crazy, yeah. And how about you, Beau? Tell me, what's next for you? Promote something.
I can't compete with sex farms, so I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say now. Well, it's an interesting story. You're talking about the pandemic, everyone being on the road. It was still deep pandemic times when we met up in Mexico, and we were texting on WhatsApp, and she picked me up from a gas station on a scooter coming out of the jungle. She was living on this compound in the jungle, and I just hopped on. She had an extra helmet. I hopped on the back of her scooter, and she took me to some cenote in the middle of the jungle, and we just like hung out in this beautiful cenote, and like I got bit to fuck from mosquitoes. She was fine. It was great. It was so that was like our first bonding time together, and neither one of us were painting. We were just in Mexico, so it was great.
Okay. I don't understand the not getting bit thing. My sister lived in the jungle. I went to visit her. I'd walk outside, get eaten alive by mosquitoes. I had to take a shower naked outside. Neighbors would come talk to me. It's like, I'm fucking taking a shower here. But I try to take as fast as I can because I get eaten alive. She did not get bothered at all. Evidently, that mosquitoes don't bother you?
I think it's like a don't mess with me kind of vibe. Like, you mess with me, I'll kill your whole family. it translates to insects.
Or it could be the spray paint. I've always like one thing. I'm old and things happen and I didn't understand what was happening. So like Tristan and all those guys, Tristan Eaton, we all go to what's that bar everybody goes to in Miami? The Deuce. And we all sit at the bar like we're there for 5 minutes, and then suddenly pretty girls sit next to them, and suddenly they're making out with the girls, and I'm thinking, man, back in my day, it didn't happen that fast. And then somebody showed me they had like a thing called Tinder or something. Yeah. But I was thinking, then I saw his Tinder profile, and he's like, Tristan Eaton.
Tristan?
Yeah, yeah. But he's looking all cool and holding a can of spray paint. But I'm thinking, if I'm a woman, I'm thinking spray paint stinks. And you can't get it out of you. Like every time I spray paint a mural, it takes like 3 days before I get the stuff out of my nose and my hair. And
Okay, wait, what's the question?
that's the question. Yeah. How do you deal with that?
What do you mean? I love spray paint.
Oh.
Spray paint is hot as fuck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think I know any woman's like, ew, spray paint. I think like, especially seeing all these mural festivals, I feel like a dude with a spray paint is like, it's like some, how do you call it? Some, that stuff that attracts people. Like it's like a pheromone. Oh my God, you've never noticed that? You've been using it raw. You've been using it raw.
Well, but I was watching you paint that giant mural, and you seem like you're just like inside that mural, and you're part of it, and
Yeah.
it's like you're tripping, man.
Yeah, I am tripping. I think that's why I love doing big murals, because I feel like you just become like a little tool, and you go all over the wall, and I don't even think anymore. I'm just like listening to hardcore music, I'm dancing, and you just do whatever you want. It's like this instant connection to whatever needs to be done, and I think that's why I've just been doing it for so long. I never wanted to live anywhere, because you're so in flow state. And even like when I finish a mural, I talk to someone and I get to next destination, next chapter, next adventure. So even like getting the next thing was in flow state. So I was just high all the time, like on paint.
Good question.
Okay, you don't get to ask questions.
So tell us about your process, because is it completely freeform? Do you have like a little bit of a germ of an idea? Do you have a design? Do you just have like shreds of things that you're weaving together? How does that work?
Yeah, because with Beau, like I don't even know, he doesn't square things off. He draws little pictures in a grid. Explain that, and then we'll ask her. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So it's the overlay method that a lot of artists use now, which is just creating arbitrary marks that you can then sort of logic together where things go. You take a picture of it. Sometimes it's bricks. Sometimes it's got already marks on the wall, or you make your own marks. Everybody does a different version of this, but it's not always practical to use a projector, and also a lot of artists don't like using them because it's like too locked in. It's not organic enough. So your hand is more in it if you're having to figure out where the borders of your drawing are, etc. Anyway, so for you, I've seen you use the big the roller extension poles like Caratoes does, and tell us more.
Well, for me, I feel like how do I say this? I feel like I like to go to a place and just like see the wall, and then just walk around, because it's like it's life, and it's our how do you call it? Like, what's the thing called again? It's our luck. So we're so lucky to go to such remote places with such different cultures, and I think it's our responsibility to just take in the culture and translate it into our visuals, or like something that we feel, because our tool is art making, and we are so sensitive. So I like to just take in things, and so like I have like a basic concept of something or composition, but then every day, depending on what I see and who comes talk to me, I'll change it up. I'll add things to it. Because for me, painting murals, it's for the community, and it's a human experience. That's why I don't like projectors that much, because I'm like, we're human, and I'm proud to be flawed. That's why I also leave my traces on there, because that's the beauty of it. Especially now with the rise of AI and like everything's like mechanical perfection. I love that we're human, and the journey is the making, is our flaws, and like keep on going and redoing it and talking to some other person, add some new stuff to it. It's a story that we built with the whole community around the mural, and I just love it. Yeah, that's like that's it.
That reminds me of when we were in Rome. Do you remember that?
Of course.
I do remember my room. My room had like 7-inch carpet,
Whoa.
and it had like a
Wink.
It had like a bed that you could put 12 people on. So it had been like an orgy room in the 70s, but it probably hadn't been cleaned since then. But
that place
but
was crazy.
that was crazy. But you got a nice room. But yeah, remember the whole community came out and made us food, and more people came out every day, and the barber gave me a haircut. And but that was like because you're there for a long time, you start building a community, right?
Yeah. So you're talking about going to a place and responding to the place, which is great. I try to do that as best I can. And in a perfect world, you'd spend like 2 weeks there before you even start your mural, and you talk to people. And rarely do you have the opportunity to actually do that. But I worked. In case anyone doesn't know, I worked for Ron for about 5 years. That's how I got my start painting murals from age 22 to whatever 22 plus 5 is. That was a year ago because I'm so young. It was actually it was 12 years ago, I think. Wow. Yeah. Well, when I moved
I
on.
can narc you out a little. But yeah, no, I mean, when you first started, you didn't want to do murals. You didn't want to be involved in that culture.
Yeah.
And then you started doing wheat paces, and they fell down. And then suddenly it just something clicked with you, and you got it, and you figured it out. And I remember that was amazing.
Well, I thought it was dishonest for me to be painting on the street, because I wasn't like a scrappy kid from the city. I grew up at the beach, and I always painted, but I thought it was, I don't know, I thought it wasn't like my place to be in that space. And then I started, as I worked for Ron for about a year and a half, and then I also became more aware of like the history of mural painting and how old it actually is. And I was like, oh, why am I not getting involved in this public space? And as soon as I tried it, it was addictive, because it's that immediate response from the public, and it's like, not to mention the fact that it's completely a democratic, egalitarian, art form that's accessible to everyone. And I'm sure people have come up to you guys a million times while you're painting or when you're finishing, and they're like, I pass this every day on my way to school or work, or it's right by my apartment, and this like, and you see the honesty about how like happy they are. And they're not always happy. It's not every time.
Tell us about some time.
What's the worst that happened?
Well, occasionally. No, it's only happened one time. There's a little bit of a controversy. So I had a mural up for about 2 years in Los Angeles. It was at the Robert F. Kennedy Community Schools. And after about 2 years, I started getting some calls from the local media in Koreatown that there was a local community group that was upset, offended even, and wanted the mural to be taken down because the background elements, they said, they didn't even say it resembled, they said it was the Japanese rising sun flag, which reminds a lot of the Korean community of the occupation, which was very brutal and very terrible. And I didn't actually even know about any of this until I went through this controversy. So it was a long process. So the school district, so murals at a school, about 27 of us painted this school a couple years before, and the school district folded immediately, and without any other public discussion, just said we'll paint it out. So it was the front page of the LA Times because it was a bit of a censorship issue, and we could argue about what censorship is, but it was clearly it was not well thought through. There wasn't enough of a conversation. So when that happened, Shepard Fairey stepped up immediately because he had a big mural of Robert F. Kennedy, who was assassinated on that site when it was the Ambassador Hotel before the school. And he backed me up and said that he was going to paint out his mural if mine went out because he didn't agree with this process. And while this was all going on, I met with the community organization that wanted, and I tried to explain, sort of why I painted it and how this element had been, an aspect of my work, and ultimately, I think this organization kind of wanted to dictate something new, and I wasn't comfortable doing that. And then after enough public outcry, and the school district, I think, ended up reversing the decision and keeping the mural, but it was sort of pending. And also it was tenuous. It didn't feel like a solution to me to just leave it exactly like that. So then I ended up collaborating with some other members of that community to come up with a solution that was not painting it out and not keeping it the same, but adding layers to it. Because there had been this big conversation that was so much more rich than the original artwork anyway. And, the original artwork was was fine, but it was it's getting a little stale, and it was great to be able to revisit an old artwork, because it was about history. It was about the history of the old site. And so a lot had happened in that community since then. So I figured, let's add layers, like a wall with layers of paint and things. And now all of a sudden this much more rich piece that is a product of this crazy conversation that happened. And ultimately I was able to actually please the people that didn't like the original mural, and please all the artists that stuck up for me and kept my integrity. And I also, the school district was helped out of a jam, and I got to it was great. So it was very stressful, but ultimately a massive opportunity for growth. And I feel like it was an experience that I will always have, that will help me navigate how to make art in public space.
Wow.
Have you had a similar experience?
Of a mural that was too controversial.
Or you had to go through that process and.
I actually have a really crazy story, but it's really long. I don't know.
It's fine.
Are you really? Okay. I've never told this story to anyone because I didn't want to be a victim or seen as a victim. But I do feel it's one of my most important works, because I definitely feel like helped the community the most. This was like before Trump, before Me Too movement. I'm already nervous thinking about it. I got flown out to do this mural in Pittsburgh for this guy, and the project was called Martin Luther Mural Project. And I got there, and my wall was painted already with stuff, and I was like, "What's happening?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, this is our foundation. We work with children from the neighborhood that don't have chances to do art, so we pay them to like make art with us." So I was like, "Oh well, I didn't know that, but okay, great, I love it. I'm gonna incorporate their work in it." And actually, when I got there and I went to the guy's house, because he didn't want to rent me a hotel, he was like, "You can stay in my house." The moment I entered his house, it should have been a red flag. But the fact that I met the kids, and they were like super traumatized, because they were like, "We've been doing this for 3 weeks," and then he just came in and painted over our work, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's terrible." But then so like the moment I went to this house, like his whole house is like, he drew spirals on everywhere. And he entered, like, he opens the room that I was gonna stay in, and there's a gun on there, and like he drew himself with like his ex-girlfriend, and there's a katana sword next to the door, and like you could tell he chopped the door like a million times, and he crossed over like this, like it was like, and I was like, that's like how it started, and I was like, well, I made this promise to these kids, I met them, so I'm gonna navigate as well as possible. So I started painting the wall, and then what happened is like the nearest toilet was like public was like 8 blocks away. So I became friends with the neighbor in front of the building, but it's a guy. So this the person, I'm gonna call his name because I think everybody should know and beware that this person is still out here and doing stuff. Kyle, what's his last name? I forgot. But something Kyle. He's out in Miami, and he saw me talk to this guy. And he like literally didn't want to pick me up anymore. He just like left me there in this really dodgy neighborhood until it was like 2 a.m. And then he was like, "Oh yeah, whoops, sorry," like, and I could tell that he was punishing me because I talked to a guy. And then but I was like, you know what? I was like, I still focused on these kids because like I talked to the kids, and this other girl that I was like helping with the project, and she was saying like how she was having a terrible time that And I was like, okay, I'm going to be super nice to him. I'm going to talk to him like a person, be like, hey, you can't just like leave him behind. I don't have a working phone. I don't have a car. Like, And then he's like, okay, I'm going to give you.
Wait, you didn't have a phone?
It was like pretty beginning of my travel painting thing. So I didn't have an American phone. Because I was like, I go all over the world. And I was like, this is only supposed to be a 1-week project. I'm not going to buy an American phone number for when I'm there. Because I'm staying with the guy, and it was like normally they just pick you up, bring you to the wall, feed you, and you drive back, and you sleep, and you do it for a week until the project is finished. So I was like, I'm not gonna buy a phone. But then like what happened is that like I talked to him, he understood, and he was like, let's continue the project. And then like I go to the shop because I needed more paint, and suddenly he like was like, no, leave everything behind, come with me. And it was like, okay. And it was like, just follow me in my car. And I started driving behind him. And we started driving super far to a point where, like, at some point I don't see houses anymore. My gut feeling is like, God, I pull over, man. You have nothing. What are you gonna do? I pull over, and then he stops his car in front of me. He walks into my car, and I had like also at some point I started recording everything because I was like, dude, I don't know what the fuck is gonna happen to me. I just started recording all our conversations.
How are you recording stuff?
I have a phone, but
Okay.
but it's not working. I don't have data on it. And then so what happened is like, like he came in the car, and I was like, dude, I don't know what's gonna happen because he could tell he was pissed as fuck that I just stopped in the middle of the road. And then like I was like, I don't know what's happening. And then like he was like, he put his phone on speaker and he was like, okay, say this again. And then the speaker was like, okay, we have Caratoes scheduled to like fly out tomorrow back to Hong Kong. And that's how he told me that I was gonna leave. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. I drop off his car and I told him like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna stay over at my friend's place. Thank you for everything. Like I'm gonna like go get my stuff. You know, I'll see you later. Thank you for this opportunity. You know, and then I pretend like I flew off, but I didn't flew off. I stayed. And my wall was not finished because I was like, oh, you don't think people will notice that I didn't finish the wall? And he was like, well, no, it's fine. It looks good enough, you know. And then I was super friendly, so he was really friendly. And then I pretend like I left, but then I stayed behind and I like made a whole compilation of all the insane messages that he sent me. I made a compilation of like all the conversations that we had, you know, like because at some point he was threatening me like, how dare you talk to this guy? Like he sent me this like long email. I reign with kings and queens, and I didn't see it coming that you would like talk to normal people like that. I could end their lives in a you know in a matter of second like this. I have emails and messages on my phone. He was like, you better bring back my car or like, you know, you'll regret this. I thought you were better than this, like crazy stuff. And then like what happened was like I stayed behind. I made a whole compilation of this. And I planned, because I was like, I want the neighborhood to know about this, you know? And then so what I did is like I waited till it was dark and then I wanted to paint over my own wall. And nobody wanted to help me because everyone was so terrified of him. Because like, you know, like they saw the message like, oh, I don't want to have my life ended. That guy crazy, you know? And so like I just like at night, like I took a ladder and got a big roller pole and I painted over my own wall. And I had my friend on speaker that knew this crazy guy. I was like, hey, whatever happens, this is my address. I'm going to paint over my wall. And then I did it. And then the next day, like everyone like started messaging me on my Instagram, be like, hey, what happened? And I DM'd them the blog post because I didn't want to make it public for everyone. And also at that point, like I never showed my face, but for the blog, I was like, you know what? I want people to know I'm human, and this is happening to me. And then I got so many messages of women telling me like their version of what happened to them with him, and it was so wild because I just didn't know. They were like, oh yeah, I used to work for him, and like, you know, he would. When I quit, he like paid two of the kids from that program to tell the cops that I molested them. I can't be a teacher ever again. Or like this other girl, like woman was like, oh, like he killed my dog when I quit because like they know these. No, it was like insane. It was insane. And the newspaper approached me and I did an interview with them. And then like later, like the building owner reached out to me, and he was like, hey, I heard your story. Let's talk. And he was like, I hired this guy and I fired him. And like, I want to hire you back on Fing. And I was like, but what happens if he's going to come after me? And he was like, no, don't you worry. We got you. Like, cause like there's some weird, I don't know what kind of hierarchy it was, but it was wild. And not even to talk about the money thing was also insane, how much he paid me. And then the building comes into me and tells me how much money the project actually was, you know? Like, it was so crazy. And then
Well, what were the numbers?
he paid me $500. And you know how much it was? When I met the building owner, he was like, the building owner paid him $60,000, and the city paid him $60,000 because it was a city project. So then, the thing was though, like since he fired him, I got the money.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like I mean, I didn't expect it. Like I was more of like, you fuck with the wrong person. You think like you're gonna like fire me, like and like send me all these crazy messages, and I'm gonna leave all these kids heartbroken because the way you like bully them. I'm like, you fuck with the wrong person. I got time. You know? And then so like, you know, like the whole story came out in the local newspaper in Pittsburgh, and then like I started painting the wall. Sometimes the cops come by because homeboy Kyle be crazy and like, you know. But I finished the project and all the women came by too. And I was like, at that point, I was like collecting all the women, being like, yo, you guys need to tell the story. This guy needs to be stopped. Like, that's crazy. Like, how he's been running this program and getting money from the city for like 12 years. And he's been bullying all these women and like bullying all these kids. And, you know, I was like gathering them all together, like trying to like make this into a bigger thing. But these women were terrified. Like, they were so scared. They're like, yo, like, some of the women want to speak up, but then other women was like, oh no, if you do that, like, you have kids now. He's gonna ruin the life of your kids the way that same way he did to me.
Yeah, they live there.
No, yeah, they
can't
lived
get
there.
away.
No, it was crazy. And then like, but then like this anonymous person reached out. He was like, we saw what you did. We've been trying to catch this guy for years. We'll take over from here. Just give all the contacts. We're gonna do this. Because I was like manic. I was like calling every woman, like trying to convince them. And then like they would come by my wall and then meet me with their kids. Like, it was so beautiful. Like, but I never told anyone this story because I was like, at that point, I just didn't want to be seen as this woman that got a, you know, yeah, whatever. But that was the
makes
most
sense.
meaningful project to me. And I think now that the culture has evolved more to understand that like we couldn't be in this position and we didn't ask for it, it just happened, you know, and that, you know, like I feel it's okay to tell this story now after so many years. But that was my most meaningful thing, and seeing how the community showed up for me, and how like we did this beautiful wall, and all the kids came by, and like I had them write their names out. And before, like they were like, in 15 years, we've never had anyone write their name of the kids. And I was like, we're gonna do that? Are you kidding me? Like, of course. And yeah. Long story, but this is what happened.
Thanks for sharing. Wow.
That's crazy. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, murals is
Beau?
not just murals.
Where do I go from here?
I mean, yeah, this is like so long, like,
Yeah.
but you know, yeah.
Well, I don't know. That seems like a show, right?
I didn't want to make it into so heavy, but it's the reality of doing murals. It's not just.
Well,
art,
now I want to
it's a
see
community.
these two murals. Like, now I'm obsessed with like, well, because like what the fuck do they actually look like? Where will we see the mural at?
In Pittsburgh,
No,
somewhere.
but where will we see it? Like, online?
It's on my Instagrams, Caratoes though.
Yeah, tell us your Instagram. Sorry.
But oh yeah, my Instagram is Caratoes, like Caratoes. But
Can you
it's
say it a little faster?
Caratoes.
Yeah, good. And Beau, what's your Instagram?
Beau Stanton. BeauStanton. That's it.
Nothing?
Well, you put the ad on the beginning.
What about that other Beau? What happened to him? There's another Beau. He was getting way more famous than Beau when he was younger.
Oh yeah,
the
he's
guy-
still doing stuff.
The guy wrote his name on other people's paintings and.
Oh yeah, he had way more balls than me. He went into Opera Gallery and he tagged a Mr. Brainwash right after the Exit Through the Gift Shop came out, because of course a lot of artists saw that movie and were like, you know, a little bit upset that, you know, Terry became so famous artificially or whatever. But that's, I mean, I think we've all realized that that's part of the art, you know. I mean, I think he's the kind of, whether you like the art or not, you accept him. But at that time, at that moment, especially in New York, he recognized that if he went in and tagged Mr. Brainwash, that it would help him. And I don't think it did. But anyway, I'm not sure. That's the answer. I
But
don't know what he's doing.
that's the thing in graffiti sometimes. Like, if somebody has a thing that if somebody does a great mural, then they go tag on it that way because they see everybody taking pictures of it, so then they can kind of ride along with that. So that Brainwash is an interesting thing. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah, the movie.
But
was
but
pretty
but people were coming
spectacular.
up to my when 9/11 happened, people kept coming over to my house, it felt like for therapy. So we could talk, and they could say, well, what the fuck is going on? I said, well, they hit us really hard. They're not going to hit us for 5 years. I mean, I don't know anything really, but I know that if you make something that spectacular, you can only do something less. So probably they'll just wait and see if we capitulate, and they'll probably give us 5 years. So let's just relax for 5 years, and then we'll revisit this. And then the brainwash hit, and then everybody's coming up to Beacon going,
Mr. Brainwash a terrorist?
no,
Yeah, what's
no.
the-
I'm
what's
just
the
saying.
correlation between
No,
9/11 and
I'm
Mr.
just thinking that was the
Brainwash?
2 times in my life where people started coming to my house and asking for like therapy or like well, how do we deal with this?
Right.
I've been an artist for 40 years.
Really
I've worked
traumatic.
every day of my life. I make the most
Wow.
magical paintings ever. Should I shoot myself? Is he the next Warhol? And so there was a lot of therapy around
Yeah,
him.
no, I
But anyway.
That
But yeah, but
you're the wise
but you
sage,
guys
so-
never did that stuff where you go tag on other people and hit. You never did that kind of stuff. You're an authentic street artist, right? Or at least I know you
I
are.
barely, I mean, you know how hard it was to convince me to do work on the street at all. So no, I was never tagging anything.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not into
Well,
starting
because
wars
we
like
almost
that.
had Duster on tonight, but he is somebody. I think he got his car towed. But,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's why you can't
yeah.
be here. Wait, what am I supposed to do with this?
I don't know. Have a good night, everybody. Good afternoon. We're in the past somewhere saying this, and we don't know what's going to happen next, but I'm sure it's really cool and everything works out fine. Love you, man.
Yeah, and if you're ever having an existential moment about Mr. Brainwash or anyone else, Ron is here for you.
Give him the full answer.
Yes, he lives at 120. No, I do know his address.
Okay, thanks.
Caratoes, caratoes, graffiti grows like the fumes from a rose. Oh, oh, caratoes, the walls, they know your name. If you do the crime, who will take the blame? You know Beau, you know Beau Stanton. Two amazing artists. They are going in the canon.